Welcome to Truth Driven Ministries video short take series, where we spotlight video clips we run across that demonstrate the concepts and principles we teach here. Today's clip comes from Robert Lairdon. It's from his God's Generals series. In this particular God's Generals series, it features John G. Lake. Now, today's topic we're going to be focusing on and discussing is stepping out in faith. In this video clip, Robert Lairdon tells the story of God's mighty provision when John G. Lake steps out in faith. Let's take a look at that clip right now.
A Pentecostal woman had just been born, and John G. Lake was going to be the first one to enter the African field with building a Pentecostal denomination in South Africa called the Apostolic Faith. How he got there is a great story. He had no contacts. He just received a vision, and in this vision, the Lord spoke to him to go to South Africa. All he had was his wife and his children, and one other ministry family was going to go with him. So he got in the mail the money that he needed to go to buy the tickets on the boat to go to South Africa. There was no jets in those days. There was just the old ocean liners. So he would go through Great Britain and then on down into Africa and then to South Africa. There was a lady in South Africa, a well-to-do family. One morning she woke up and the Lord said to her, go to the port there in South Africa, I believe it was Durban, and there'll be a missionary family with the right amount of children, and they'll be from America, and you're to give them this house. She had several homes, and so she packed up her little bags and she got in a horse and carriage and she headed down to the port there in South Africa, and she waited for the right boat to come off. She didn't know, when it was supposed to come, except the Lord told her to go. So she got there and she found that the name of the boat she had in her spirit was there. And she got there at the dock and waited for the people to come off. And she kept asking the families, are you a missionary? How many children do you have? And they didn't meet the criteria. You're not the one. She kept pushing them through until she came to John G. Lake. She asked, are you a missionary from America? He goes, yes, I am. How many children do you have? He announced how many children he had. You're the one. Come with me. I have a house for you and your family for you to start your ministry here. God had made a way for John G. Lake to come with a wife and young children all the way to South Africa, got off the boat, and he did not know in the natural where they were going to sleep, who they were going to meet, or what to do. All he had was the word of the Lord. Now, in the early days of Pentecost and the early days of this kind of missionary fervor, this is what they did. They didn't have connection. They didn't have people that they knew. A lot of them just felt, God called me to China. God called me to South America, to Africa, someplace, and they went. In Pentecost, when they believed they spoke in tongues, they also believed God would give them a language of some tribe or some people in the earth, which meant they were called to go there. So if it sounded African, they'd buy a ticket and go to Africa, get off the boat and start praying in tongues, and if someone said something back to them, then they realized connection had been made, and they'd follow that person to their tribe and start their mission work. That's how early Pentecostals went around the world. Now, us today, we get all nervous. We get, oh, well, we can't do that. We don't know anybody and we don't believe that. But this is how it worked. And if God did it then, he can do it again today if we have enough guts to go and believe and see what happens. So Lake met his salvation of his house. The lady was there and said, I've got you a house. It was a nice big Victorian house, enough for the children, enough for the family, enough for the other family to stay with them for a while, and they found their own home. And so Lake landed with his first step of provision.
I love that story. When I step out in faith way beyond my comfort zone, I always think of this story, and it reminds me of how complete his provision is for us. We need never worry. He prepares our heart and the hearts of others. If he asks something of us, all we need to do is step out in faith. He has already made all the necessary arrangements. Where is God having you step out in faith in your life right now, currently? Leave us a comment down below, email, text us. We'd love to hear from you to see where you're stepping out in faith right now.